mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this at all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts. But it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, no the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. Cause I be on the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the GOATs of Yankees prospects, Dane and Los. This is
The Farm Report.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys?
Los, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Dane?
Good. So the first thing we wanted to jump into was we got some spring training invite lists this morning. The big standout names: Spencer Jones, Ben Rice, Caleb Durbin, Will Warren, Chase Hampton. Any of those guys surprise you, Los?
For me, right away, the surprise is Caleb Durbin and I guess TJ Rumfield. Those probably would be my biggest surprise.
Yeah. Anybody that you're really looking forward to seeing?
Will Warren, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to be the first guy up, or the first guy to debut of this crop of guys. Of course, Chase Hampton. Right. Spencer should get a lot more burn this time. I know last year he didn't start off too well in spring training, from what I recall. I think he was like 1 for 8 with like 7 strikeouts, something like that. But he did finish strong.
Yeah,
and
he was ugly early.
He was. And then Ben Rice probably would be the other guy for me.
I'm looking forward to seeing Ben Rice. I was so fascinated by him last year with all that he did in the second half. I really want to see this year if he can cement his profile as one of the better hitters in the system. I mean, when we talked to Messenger about him, he just went on and on about how good a hitter he thought he was. It's really got me excited.
Yeah, another thing about Ben Rice is you got to remember he's going to be 25 coming into the season, I think. So, it's something that he has to do now.
Yeah, it is. He has to make an impact this year, or he's going to get passed up on that depth chart. One of the things about this group of prospects that I wanted to discuss is everybody has PTSD from the last group of prospects we had: the Miguel Andujar's, the Greg Birds, the Devi Garcias, the guys that just didn't work out. And everybody has no faith in our ability to develop prospects, but people fail to understand that this development group was completely changed in 2019 when they brought in all the new coaches, all the new draft strategies. I mean, they develop kids so much better than they used to. Are you worried about any of these kids just being a straight bust if they're healthy?
I'm not really worried about guys like that. Like you said, they've brought in a completely new, different leadership, different coaching staff. There's a different philosophy. They have guys from Driveline, which is where everybody's going right now, or a lot of the prospects are going right now. So I'm not too worried about that. And like you said, it's what happened to, and I mean, all these prospects that failed, like Andujar, Miguel Sanchez, Clinton Frazier, there was all the reasoning behind it. And most of the times it was due to injury. Andujar, he jacked up his shoulder, lost his pop. Clinton Frazier,
right.
He just couldn't shake the concussions. For Gary Sanchez, I just think he was, he probably couldn't hack being told every year that he sucks. And, what is it? I think he had 4 different defensive coaches in 4 years.
4 different.
I mean, after a while, that just wears on you after a while. So I think that's what happened with Gary. If they would have probably just left him alone, who knows? Maybe he's still a Yankee.
Yeah, maybe. But I think Sanchez's problem, it was exactly what you said. He had Tony Pena and Girardi with him in the beginning. And look at those numbers. He looked like the best player that we developed in 20 years. And then he gets Boone and the other catching coach. They tell him that he can't handle it defensively, change his style to one knee. They have him go back and change it the next year. you just can't change that much at the major league level that many years in a row and be consistently good.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
I'm not worried
definitely
about
agree, and
this
I'm
new
not worried
group
about that.
coming.
Yeah, my
No,
biggest concern is
I'm looking
them
forward
getting
to,
playing time.
yeah. The guy that I'm most looking forward to seeing, of course, is Will Warren. I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people with his ability to just be a 3 through 5 starter right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think you and I have had
I
discussion,
think that he's
and I
got that
told you.
ability.
And I think I told you that I think Will Warren will surprise many this year. Hopefully he does get that opportunity. He starts off really hot in spring training, and he makes the team out of spring training. Because I think he will surprise.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, you want to talk about Roderick Arias a little bit?
Yeah, we can go right into Roderick.
So we've seen the lists that have come out over the last couple of weeks, and one common theme of Roderick Arias has been in the top 100 for everybody. Even Spencer Jones hasn't made every top 100 list, but Arias has. And you keep hearing more and more about his ability to be an elite on base percentage guy because he's walked 22% of the time in his career. He doesn't strike out a lot, which is strike out around 20% of the time. You just don't see that from guys that have the power and the tools at the plate that he does.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most exciting guys for me coming into this season. One of the guys that are probably watching the closest, post Jason, since Jason has already made it to the majors. And going back and looking at his numbers last season, he struck out at a 32, almost a 33% clip, and a lot of people were concerned by that. And you had to take into consideration he had a hand injury. He missed the first half of the season. He was playing catch up. Almost all year long, and he was forcing things. But then coming into this season, he kept the walk rate the same, 20%. The walk rate didn't change.
Right.
It actually went up almost 1% this year. And then he cut the strikeout rate by almost 11% to just about 22. I mean, so he's definitely trending in the right direction. It's just a matter of him being able to stay on the field. Unfortunately, he had back-to-back freak injuries. So hopefully that's not the case this year. And heading into his first full season of minor league baseball, we're going to see a lot more from him.
Yeah. Now, as far as him defensively, I keep hearing that he is just an absolute star at shortstop, that he's going to move everybody off that position if he reaches his ceiling. He's got a 70 grade arm, 60 grade glove. What more do you think that he needs to do at that position to be the long-term shortstop for the Yankees?
I think he just needs reps. I mean, I've also spoken to a scout in that area. He said the same thing. He spoke highly of his defense, and I know people will point to the fact that I think he made 13 errors this season, but I couldn't tell you if there were errors with the glove. I couldn't tell you if they were throwing errors. So there's still some more of the metrics that we need to know exactly what kind of an error it is. But like I said, I've heard nothing but glowing reports about his defense. I'm not too concerned. Even Derek Jeter had a season where he had over 50 errors. Again, he just needs rep is more than anything. It's just reps.
Now, and Victor Epic Warrior brings up an interesting comp, Arias being similar to Bobby Witt Jr. I think that there's some legitimate similarities there as far as the numbers they can put up. Both plus runners, both have bigger power for shortstops. Obviously, Roderick's a switch hitter, but I think that is kind of the player that you could see Roderick Arias being in the next 3-4 years.
I think Yankee fans would be very happy if that's who Roderick turns to be. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be one to complain for that.
Right. JC, what's up, guys? Medina, Eric, how you guys doing? Tyler, what's up, bud? So you want to jump into some farm system rankings where the list had us?
The Yankees started the year with 7 prospects making the top 100s of all the major publications, Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, ESPN, and Baseball Perspective. Jason Dominguez is still the crown jewel of the system. Baseball America labeled him the 16th ranked prospect. which is a huge jump considering last season he started at 67. So I
Yeah.
actually was a little surprised to see him that high. And Spencer
I
Jones was the next Yankee at 46.
right. And I got to bring up Keith Law's list from the Athletic. He didn't even have Spencer in the top 100. And it's like, seriously,
Yeah, but
how?
I've been reading that he hasn't really been on the Spencer Jones bus for a while now. So some people weren't surprised by it.
Well, I understand that the strikeout rate's concerning there,
Hmm.
but just his overall numbers last year were pretty impressive, even when you dismiss the strikeout rate. I don't know how you can't rate him as a top 100 prospect.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, sometimes a lot of these things are who you see more, the guys with the highest signing bonus, who has the most buzz, and things like that. As far as Spencer Jones strikeouts, I spoke about that a lot last
Oh,
season.
absolutely. We both did.
Yeah, and he finished the season well. He pretty much got that under control. So again, right now I'm not too concerned about it. He did make some adjustments, so hopefully they take this in coming into this season.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in spring training and see what adjustments he's made with the swing that he's worked on this winter. If he's improved that, I think he's going to be able to move fast.
Uh, you know, I think in a perfect world that probably is the case. I just don't see the Yankees moving him fast, especially with the glut of outfielders that they have right now. I mean, I don't think there's a reason to rush him. And if there is, then something has gone wrong.
Well, yes, absolutely. But I just think that he's going to be capable of moving fast. I don't think that he's going to
Yes.
be up in the next month and a half or something like that. But I think that you could see him later this year sometime and he can impact this roster.
Yeah, on that part though, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't see Spencer
Okay.
Jones up this season, only because, like
Okay.
I said, there's just so many guys in front of him. Unless they completely bust, that's probably the only way that I'll see that. Or if Jason doesn't play at all this year, maybe then
Uh-huh.
we'll be able to see him. But again, I just don't see the Yankees rushing him and starting his clock early if there's so many guys in front of him.
That makes sense. Now, another guy that showed up on the ESPN list that we hadn't seen anywhere else was Will Warren. Kylie picked him to be a rookie of the year candidate, have a mid-3 ERA if he pitched most of the year.
I mean,
Um,
if just to go back to look at the list, if you look at the list, there was three consensus pick, which made all four of the list, and that's Jason, Spencer Jones, and Chase Hampton made all four of the list of Baseball America, Pipeline, ESPN, and Baseball Perspective. Roderick Arias made three of the list. Austin Wells made two of them. Then you had Everson and Warren each make one of the top 100 lists. And there's still some guys that, I thought we saw from Baseball America. There's still a couple guys that could be added to the top 100 list later on in the season. Guys like Lombard, Maeda, or Lalane.
yeah, all three of those guys, Maea, Lombard, and Lalani, have a chance to shoot up those rankings real quick once they get to A ball.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Maea does
Yes.
later this year. Nick is someone that we've had on our show quite a few times, and he is a huge fan of him. Thinks that
Hmm.
he's the best defensive center fielder in the system right now.
Well, he sees
And
him
I
as the
think,
future center fielder.
yeah, he does. And I just want to see more of him. When you're in the DSL, you obviously don't get to see a whole lot of highlights of the kids, but I'm looking forward to him stateside this year.
Pete, yes, I am surprised that Cerna didn't get an invite, especially how he played in the Winter League this year. But then again,
Abs-
it could be the fact that he just didn't get above high A.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked that he didn't get an invite. I was hoping that he would, but again, he only finished in high A. He didn't really perform well in high A compared to what he did in Tampa,
I think the
but he had
difference though, the difference in high A was, he still hit. He just didn't show the power that he showed at single A in Tampa.
yeah. Jaden, as far as Arias or Lombard having a higher ceiling, I think it's Roderick Arias that has the highest ceiling in the system. And that include Baseball America said something very, very similar. Lombard is going to be a great prospect, but we just haven't seen enough of him to know what to really project him as. Defensively, he's going to be a stud, but we'll see with the bat. Another thing that happened this week was the Corbin Burns trade, Los, and we saw the Yankees watch Burns go to the Baltimore Orioles for two guys that we all thought we could do better than from our system.
Yeah.
But one thing that people don't realize is the Brewers system, they have the second or third best farm system in baseball. They're not really looking, they have a complete farm system. So what they targeted is what they need.
Yeah.
So that they were asking for younger prospects. I read that they wanted Lalane and Arias for Burns. And I understand why Cashman wouldn't do that.
That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand is that they see the prospect package that a team gets and they automatically say, well, the Yankees could have beat that with this, but you don't know how that other team is viewing those prospects, right? What if they don't see them the same as other teams? It doesn't mean that they have the same as or equal value. It's just that that's not what their need is right now.
Right. Steals, as far as Gage being traded to the Dodgers, I really like the kid that they've made a deal for. I think that what's the kid's name?
Well, go back and look at that deal. The deal was basically Christian Zazueta for Matt Gage. Matt Gage was a guy that they just picked up a couple of weeks ago. Zazueta was a kid who, he had pretty good stuff. Last year he just got bombed last year. I think he had an ERA of over 7. And this season he completely turned that around. He pitched really well this season. I mean, to me, it's a win. It's a win-win-win for the Yankees. They didn't really give up much.
Right. They really didn't give up much at all. Jaden, I'm really surprised that Danny Watson wasn't invited, as well as Jack Neely. That really, really surprised me. But
I mean, you still could see them later on in spring training.
Right. Any guys that can come up and play third. They really don't have a whole lot of third basemen. Vivas would be the closest one.
And Tyler Hardman.
Isn't he out with Tommy John's?
I don't think it was Tommy John, but I think he's expected to play this season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tyler, the O's farm system is much better than ours. We have a top farm system. Our farm system was ranked in the top 10 for the 3 big publications. So it's not
Baseball America had the Yankees farm system as the ninth in their rankings. ESPN had them at 6, and Baseball Perspective had them at 7, which is remarkable when you consider that Anthony Volpe graduated, so did Oswald Peraza, and you had a bunch of other guys that are no longer in the system. Guys like a Drew Thorpe, Trey Sweeney, Richard Fitz, Randy Vasquez, and Johnny Brito were all top 30 prospects.
Yeah, they lost a ton and they recovered quite well. So lot Bigfoot steals. Seriously?
I don't think you're ever gonna live that down, man.
I guess not. I guess I'm never gonna live the Bigfoot thing down. Maybe I should send some pictures of my morning coffee with him. On Pop, how you doing, bud? So do you want to talk about the free agent scandal a little bit? That was something that
before we move on to Coconut's question regarding Peraza and Pereira, I mean, I think Peraza still has some value to Cashman. I guess his insurance policy if DJ's health starts failing him. But as far as Everson is the one that I'm most concerned with, because I don't see where he fits in. When you have your 3 outfielders, you have Grisham now, you have Jason coming back sometime in June. I don't see where he's gonna fit in. I mean, he just has to keep doing his thing. He probably is going to head back to Scranton. He just has to keep doing his thing and make sure that his value doesn't depress even further.
Yeah, I think he's going to start in AAA. He's still a top 100 prospect, in my opinion. I think that
Hmm.
he's going to probably end up being a big trade chip at the deadline for something that they need. I don't know
Hmm.
what that's going to be, but I think that's what his use is going to be. As far as Peraza, I don't know how many people have seen the pictures of him that are going around, but he's added some
Yeah.
significant muscles, some significant strength. I think he might surprise some people this year with what he's going to do. But it's going to be up to the Yankees to use him. If they don't give him an opportunity, he's never going to perform. So I would
Uh,
do Pereira plus for Bieber in a heartbeat.
I think almost anybody would. Regarding Peraza being traded, I mean, if they get Gio, then yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think there's any place for Peraza.
Yeah. To Tyler's question about the five catchers on the 40 man, I think you're going to see Rortvet and probably Narvaez dealt in spring training sometime.
Hmm.
Catchers always get hurt in spring training. They always move some. Everybody always wants major league ready catchers. I don't think the 40 man, the five catchers on the 40 man will end up being a problem.
Steals, I don't think Cashman's gonna bother calling regarding Class A. Uh, it's probably gonna cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, that deal starts with Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez too. I mean,
Yeah.
his value is unbelievable because of how long he has control. I think he's got another 4 years of control. It's kind of the same thing with Devin Williams. It's not going to be cheap to go get one of those guys. So you want to talk about the IFA scandal?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure these guys have heard some things about it.
Well, I Pete, I don't know if you can pull up the video of Ozuna real fast. This is a kid the Yankees were connected to in 2028. They believe that he was 12 years old in this video. He is a switch hitting shortstop, has put up exit velocities of 107 miles an hour plus from both sides of the plate. Yankees were linked to him for close to $6 million. We heard that he had offers in the $7 to $7.5 million range. And then all of a sudden, the articles started coming out, the tweets. We saw that about 10 days ago that there was somebody in that class that was way older and it ended up being him.
Yeah, he's a 16-year-old Venezuelan kid who allegedly has paperwork saying that he's 12 years old. Major League Baseball is still investigating this, as are the Yankees. There haven't been any updates since the story broke. But from the videos that I've seen from this kid, uh, he's still a teenager. I would still try to sign him. Just of course, it's not going to be for that $6 million range, but I would definitely
No,
try to sign this kid.
I would too. I think, I mean, even Roderick Arias hasn't had those kind of exit velocities consistently yet. So this kid at 16 years old, I would still try to go get him. He's going to be
Hmm.
suspended for a year, like we saw with Florial, with Rafael DePaula, all those guys. It's just what happens. But if he can come back and the Yankees can sign him for $1 to $2 million, why not?
Yeah, like I said, we've spoken about this in our chats. I would still try to go after this kid. I mean, he looks good from the videos that I've seen from him. Switch hitter, shortstop, great exit velo already. Definitely a kid that I would be interested in. Just like I said, not in that $5-6 million range any longer.
No. Would you give him 1.5 million?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so would I, even if it meant signing him as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, I would still go. Like I said, from what I've seen from him, he looks very good for that age, 16 or 17.
Yeah. Victor, we don't talk about that name, bud. Sorry. I get in trouble, Victor. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know who that guy
Anyway,
is though.
yeah, I've never heard of him either. Peraza for Tanner Scott. Would you do that?
I've said this before. I just don't feel like um the Yankees really need to go outside to get bullpen help. I think that they whatever help that the bullpen might need can be addressed internally. There's plenty of guys in the organization that I feel could come up. If Will Warren doesn't make the team, he's one of those guys. Clayton Beater's on the 40 man. You have Yoendrys Gomez on the 40 man. You have guys like Danny Watson and Jack Neely, which
Yeah.
should be ready at some point this season. I mean, unless you guys want to continuously be searching and needing a free agent, at some point you have to start developing your own. And if you're gonna have one, two, three, four, $300 million players, you got to look for areas where you can cut costs, and that's going to be through prospects.
Yeah.
You have to give these kids a chance.
Yeah, you have to. With them hopefully giving Juan Soto a big contract, they have a lot of big contracts on the books for the future, and they're going to need these young kids to fill in some very important roles.
And especially if, as some people want them to eat Stanton's deal again, you're gonna need to find places where you can, save money because as much as Hal has spent this season, he's not going to continuously spend like a drunken sailor.
Yeah, he's just not. When it costs everything that they do now costs 110%. I just don't see him spending a whole lot of money. Luis Heel, I'm really looking forward to seeing him in spring training. If you watch his Instagram videos, he looks like he's in great shape. He's changed the pitch mix a little bit. I think that he's got a real shot to impact either the rotation or most likely the bullpen this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if the control looks better, you could see him in the back of the bullpen. If the changeup and cutter have improved, you could see him as a starter. The guy has an incredible arm. You're gonna see him impact.
For me, I'm thinking he's going to land in the bullpen because of an innings cap.
Right. I agree with you this year, but he could be somebody who moves into the rotation in the future if he improved his command. Francis, how you doing, bud?
Hey, Francis.
There was a question I saw a little higher up.
What prospects do you think can help the Yankees this year?
Yeah. You want to go first?
I'm going with Luis Heel. Could help out in the bullpen. Will Warren is the guy that I think will probably have the most impact. Clayton Beater at some point we'll see this year. Maybe Yoendrys Gomez, because like I said, he's already on the 40 man. I can see some of the bullpen guys maybe later on, such as Danny Watson. I'm hoping Jack Neely. I think those are the only guys I can think of as of right now.
On the position side, I just don't see any of the kids impacting this year unless something really goes wrong. Ben Rice is obviously one of the closest. Rizzo would have to be hurt, or Wells, or something of that combination to get a chance. Spencer Jones, I do think he could be a call up in late this year, but again, something would have to go wrong. You'd either have to move Verdugo or Jason not play all year for that to happen. Augustine Ramirez, he's stuck behind
Well, he still had double A.
Wells. Yeah, but that's someone, he could be up this year, but something would have to go wrong. Same thing with Jared Cerna, Caleb Durbin.
Well, I think Cerna's just too far away right now. He's still in high A. I mean, my hope is that he gets to Somerset this season, but there's a lot of other, dominoes that have to move out of his way. Such as Caleb Durbin going up to Scranton is one of those things.
Yeah. For Bronx Bomber, more likely to grab the number 5 spot in the rotation this season, I think that's Warren because he's ready.
Yes.
The only reason Hampton's not is he only pitched 106.1 or 0.2 innings last year.
106 innings.
106 innings. Okay. But he's not fully stretched out. They're going to want to see how he does. He's added some strength this winter, some velo, and we're going to see how that all plays out. If Augustin Ramirez makes the Yankees someday, what position does he play? I think he's still a catcher.
Yeah.
You might see him get a little time at first base. You might see him DH a little
Yeah,
bit,
I'm
but
going catcher DH.
I have him as forming the best offensive catching tandem in baseball with Wells. No, I think Warren is actually a little bit better than Clark Schmidt. I would compare him a little bit more to how Mike King debuted. I think that's a
I think he's a little
closer
more
comp.
polished.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see Hampton this year before the trade deadline?
I hope so. I
I
hope
do
so.
too. I really, really do. Levi Aviation, how you doing? They're not going to job those guys. The Yankees have learned from that mistake. They have brought in better pitching development people that know how to build these guys up in the proper way, not the Jabba rules where he'd pitch once every 10 days. And yeah. Yeah, it steals. Hampton has the much higher ceiling, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Warren, I don't think he's ever going to be better than a number three, but he could be a really good number three. Hampton has the stuff and especially the mound presence and even the command to be a top of the rotation starter, whether that's a one or a two.
Yeah, I think he's a frontline starter
Yeah.
at his peak. For LI, um, I don't I don't think that doesn't compute for me because to me, Serna's a second baseman. He's not a
Right.
shortstop. I mean, he can play shortstop, but I prefer him at second base. So, I mean, I don't see him being an issue to Roderick or vice versa.
Nick,
And
if
look,
Loizaga could stay healthy, that would be amazing. He's never proved that he's been able to do it.
I mean, I like
I,
him. I like him.
I love the guy.
For me, I can't rely on guys like that.
Chance Cisco catcher the Yankees have. I don't know, Narvaez? No. I
The
think the upside
upside.
with go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go
I
ahead.
think all right. I think the upside of bringing Geo here is that he can handle multi positions and come off the bench. I don't know. Who do I think is the ace of the future between Hampton or Lalane? I it's hard to predict aces
I would
LI,
love to.
but
I'd love to see it. I'm here for
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think they both could be aces, but you just don't know until they get up higher. Joe Musgrove for Will Warren. I think I think Mike King with more pitches is a better comp. Caleb, I do think that there's a chance they get Bieber because of the cost being so much less than a Blake Snell.
Who starts more games at catcher this year, Trevino or Wells?
Wells.
I'm going Wells, and I'm hoping it's Wells.
Yeah.
Oasis.
JC, I
Steve,
love LaGrange, but he's got to work on the mechanics and command a little bit before I'm penciling him into a future rotation.
I mean, I still think there's a chance that he becomes Dylan Betances 2.0.
I think that's a very good possibility as well.
And steals, yeah, that's my plan is to definitely. Well, no, not for 420, but for Tampa.
Can we see Efros isn't a closer type? He just doesn't have the velo. That's just not his role. Loizaga could, but again, it's staying healthy. The Yankees structured Holmes' contract that it pays him more for closing games. They believe he is a closer. So he's going to get that opportunity in the first half. And if he doesn't close well, then maybe you see the Yankees go get a closer at the deadline, but they're going to give him every opportunity to close in the first half, I think.
What do you think of him as a closer?
I like him better than eighth inning role, to be real honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's been on, he's been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
But
it's just that it scares some people, and I think it's because they see the Emmanuel Clases or the Sugar Diaz's, right, and they want that.
yeah,
And those kind of closers just don't grow on trees.
no, they do not. Yeah, I saw that they're going to try to get multiple innings out of Loizica. I think that that's just a recipe to get him hurt even quicker.
I mean,
I
I think he should be a setup guy if he can stay healthy. But if you're going to continue to push him out there for 5, 6, 7 outs, you're asking for trouble.
yeah, he's just not built that way. He's just not built that
Pete, this is not new.
way. uh, let's see.
Zach is saying, please
Zach,
trade for a good starting pitcher.
yeah, I was just going to that one.
No.
Uh, I don't know. I think that as long as they believe that Carlos Rodon is going to be the guy that they paid him to be last year, I think they're pretty confident in their rotation.
I think that's
I
one of the
mean,
reasons why after the Yamamoto thing failed, they didn't go out to get another pitcher because they're like, we paid Rodon to be the number two. I'm not
right.
gonna go pay like How's or Cashman, like I'm not gonna pay another guy to be a number two.
I mean, of course, it would be great if you could get another top of the rotation starter. I just don't know if they're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yes, Holmes gives heart problems. I agree with you. Dominguez, I think he'll be back July, August. What
I mean, they
happened to
said
the
soon, but
Elijah?
there's no rush. Hmm?
Right. Elijah Dunham hype train.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
I'm gonna
know.
be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I thought Elijah Dunham was gonna be a guy that we could have seen come out of spring training, and for me, he was probably the biggest disappointment the last season. I expected a lot more from him.
I did too. I'm with you. I
But
thought
he completely I don't want to say bombed, but he didn't adjust well at Scranton. They sent him back. They demoted him to Somerset, where he played a lot better, but they didn't call him back up after that.
what do you think about him being able to produce at double A really well, which is actually the harder level, and not being able to produce at triple A? Do you
I
think that
mean,
says anything about his future?
that to me sounds like a future quadruple A player.
Good point.
And I hate to say it, but
Yeah. Uh, I would love to get a closer, but I think the Yankees do such a good job of developing pitchers, especially relief pitchers, in house. I think guys like Yeri De Los Santos is going to get opportunities in that bullpen. They traded for a couple bullpen arms. I just don't think that we know what they have yet.
and I think that's you know, Cashman is waiting to see what this team is before he starts making other moves, other big moves. And regarding going out to get another closer, you still have to remember this was still the number one bullpen last season in terms of ERA.
Right. Mr. Coconuts, he's had 2 really, really strong years. So,
And they also look at it by his paycheck.
exactly.
We know the Yankees are big believers in that. If I'm paying this guy, he's going to play.
Yeah. I could see Ian Hamilton in the closer role if Holmes goes through one of his stages. Absolutely. Hamilton is a really good arm. I wish the Cashman would go away. He spent money so horribly. I have no problem with what Hal's done. Hal has spent just an assload of money the last 3-4 years. He's over $1 billion in the last 4 years. It's just Cashman has spent it horribly. A huge late. Li, as far as LeMahieu over Peraza, they're paying LeMahieu. You got to realize that.
Matthew, I think one of the guys that I like to be the future closer on this team is Jack Neely. I don't know if you've ever seen him before. I've posted a lot of videos of him. You could take a look if you like. The guy has tremendous stuff. Big guy, 6'8", I think like 240. Definitely a guy who actually had a great season last year. And I'm looking forward to seeing again this year.
Yeah, for sure. Neely is someone I'm really impressed to see. Guys, we're going to get ready to wrap it up here. So throw in some of your last questions you want us to get to, and then we're going to get out of here. Yeah, you're right, Li.
Yep.
I think Hal is going to absolutely step it up for Soto. There's absolutely no way you can trade for him and let him go. If they do not re-sign Soto, the future of this team is really scary. Well, we don't want you to feel bullied. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys next week. Los, we have a roundtable that we're doing on your channel next week. And then we have a couple interviews lined up with later round pitching prospects next week. What else you got?
Well, we have a couple of the draft picks coming on. We have the roundtable as well. It's pretty much what we got going on for now.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, guys.
Top 10 radar, yeah, we on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar. Yeah. Hey, look, top floor, lifestyle, chef, and boy, I'm cooking up. Way too high, ain't coming down, you see me if you looking up. I don't really talk too much, so I'm running numbers up. Lucky that I'm showing up, I'm going off, they know what's up. Wrist too silly, yeah, numbers crack the Billy, yeah, don't need no dilly. I'm too fresh, I feel like really, yeah. Feel the duffels up, the sign, I need a million. I'm about to take off, and I know that I'm on they radar. Top